Hey everyone, welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star the Flippin' Hippo. Today we're going to talk about setting listing goals. We're going to talk about how many listings we should be doing a day and how to stick to our goals. So 3 things you need to keep in mind about goals. Number 1, you don't want them to be too easy. If you're attaining them every day with ease and spare time, your goals are too easy. But you also don't want them to be too lofty or too hard that they're unattainable, because then you're going to feel defeated and discouraged. So you want them somewhere in between. And you can always lower and raise your goals as you need to, and you don't need to apologize to anyone for that. If you say, I want to list 30 things a day, and you try that for a full week or a full 2 weeks, and you just discover that there's no way with everything else in your life that you can list 30 items a day, you can lower that to 20 or 15 or whatever you think is attainable, and you don't have to apologize to anyone. If you're consistently not hitting your goals, you are going to feel discouraged. You are not going to feel like you succeeded, and I don't want anyone to feel like that. So if you're not hitting your goals, drop them a little bit to something more attainable. But on the other hand, if you say I only want to list 10 things a day, and you find that you have half a day of work and then you're done every single day, could you list 20? Do you think you could raise that to more? Probably. So you got to find that balance. And the third thing to keep in mind with goals is that they're going to be different for every individual based on every individual's situation. We all have different family units and friends and pets and disabilities and illnesses. Some of us work outside of the home, some of us don't. Everyone has an absolutely different situation from the next person. So you have to figure out your goals for you around your life. We're going to talk some simple math real quick, a base scenario on a money goal. And then we'll talk about building it in around your life. Whether you're doing this as a full-time job to earn a full-time living or on the side as a part-time job or a hobby, you still have a monetary goal for each month. And you need to figure out the actual net amount you need to have come out of the business, not the gross. So I tell people to figure on 40 to 60% profit after cost of goods, fees, and shipping. It seems that most people function somewhere between 40 to 60%, depending on the cost of goods in your area. We profit like 60% or a little bit more of gross because we have low cost of goods. If you're paying out a little bit more, you may be looking at 40%. So figure 40 to 60% of your gross is going to be what you net. So if you need to make $1,000 a month, it's safe to say you should probably be aiming to make at least $2,000 a month in sales, and then half of that would be yours. Then you need to figure out your average sale price. So you can do that by going into your app. It has the 90 days total of sales. Just divide the money number by the total amount of items sold, and that will get you your average sale price. If it's $20 and you need to gross $2,000 in sales, you need to sell 100 items. If you need to sell 100 items a month, 30 days in a month, you need to sell 3.3 items a day. So we'll say 3, rounded down. If you're selling used clothing, you're going to be selling at around about a 0.5% sell-through rate. Plush is a little bit less. Electronics is like 1%, but we're going to go with used clothing because I know most of my audience does thrifted clothing. So 0.5% sell-through rate, and you want to sell 3 to 4 items a day, you're going to need 200 listings. So when you go to list, if you already have 200 listings, you need to figure out your daily listing goal based on how much you're selling a day. So if you have 200 listings that are active and you are selling 4 a day consistently, you need to replace those to stay where you're at. So you need to list at least 4 a day, more if you want to grow. If you're just getting started and you have, maybe 5 listings up, and you want to get to that 200 listings goal so that you can make that 1,000 a month, you may want to set your goal at 10 a day. That'll give you 300 in a month. So in less than a month, you can reach your goal. But if your goal is higher, let's say you need, we'll just double the numbers for ease of math, but let's say you need to make 2,000 a month. So that person would need to sell 4,000 if their average sale price was also $20 and everything was the same down on, they would need 400 listings to consistently make that money. And you need to be replacing everything you're listing. And I don't discourage growth, even if you've already met your goals. So if your goal is 1,000 listings active and you reach it, I would say keep doing what you're doing if it was working for you. So if you were working or listing 10 or 12, 10 or 20 items a day to get to that 1,000 active listings and you finally reach it, and listing, say 10 a day was working for you, you had enough time to do it, it never really stressed you out, keep listing 10 a day, because I'm never going to discourage anyone to not have more growth, more profits, more capital. If you reach your goals, just keep doing what you're already doing. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to have more listings up and you're going to make more money. I never tell anyone to cut back because they've reached their goals. As long as what you're doing is working for you, just keep doing it, because the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to make more money, right? Then you can reinvest that into better inventory, or you can put it towards your debts, your goals, whatever you're working for, your bills, vacations, new cars, you know what I mean? But if you're consistently not getting to your overall goal, you're consistently not getting to your daily goals, that's when I think you have something that's not attainable. But if you're reaching it every day and you're comfortable where you're at, you're good. So let's say you figure out this math problem that I just explained to you, and you figure out you need to list 10 items a day to get to where you want to be, to replace what you're selling, and to continue to grow. And eventually you get to a point where you're faster, because we all do get faster. If you're new to this, I want to encourage you. If you feel like you're a snail, you probably are a snail, but you won't always be a snail. It used to take me like 2 hours to measure like 10 pairs of jeans. I can now do 20 pairs in 45 minutes. And I do 7 to 8 measurements on each pair. I mean, that's a huge increase in speed. You also will get faster at sourcing. I feel like in the beginning, you're kind of going through really slow and you're unsure and you have to comp everything. Once you start to know what you're doing and you know what brands you're looking for, you can start to flick through those racks really quick and you're not having to comp as much. And that goes with listing as well. Over time, as you list more and more, you're going to get faster. You're going to get used to where things are on that template and be able to fill them out real quick. You're going to know your brands. You may not have to comp as much. You're going to get faster with photographs. Everyone, period, with repetition and time and knowledge and experience gets faster on whatever the task at hand is that they're doing over and over. So let's say in the beginning you do 10 a day and it feels like it takes you all day. And then one day you realize it's only taking me half the time that it used to. Maybe you should raise your goal to 15. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to make more money. So how do you know how many listings to make your goal based on your life? We've done the math. You know how many you're going to need based on what amount of money you need. You just have to figure out how much money I need to make, double that to allow for that 50% profit margin, figure out your average sale price, and that'll tell you how many items you need to sell a month. You divide that by 30. That's how many you need a day. And then you figure out how many listings you need total to sell that many a day. And then you set your goal based on replacing what you're selling and how fast you want to get to that goal. So that's the math problem. But what about your life? Well, you have to sit down and decide, do I want this to be a full-time job? Do I want this to be a full-blown business that I do solely to make a full-time living on, you're going to have a higher goal than someone who wants to just do this part-time around their children or part-time around their job outside of the home. That person's going to have smaller monetary goals probably as well, but they're also going to have less time to devote to it. If you want to go all the way and make this, replace your job, your full-time income, a full-blown business, you're going to eventually need multiple streams of income. You're going to need social media, cross-posting, affiliate links, all of that. So you'll have to, in the beginning, probably list a lot to get to where you need to be on eBay. Say you start on eBay first, and then you can cut back a little bit if you need to cross-post to other places. I always try to always stick at the same amount on eBay and let the cross-posting be secondary, but you'll have to decide that for yourself. But just keep in mind that if you want this to be a full-time job, you're probably going to have to list 2 to 3 times more than someone doing this as a hobby or a part-time job. And you're also eventually going to need to be cross-posting and have multiple streams of income. So keep all of that in mind when you're making these numbers. And remember everything else going on in your life. I know I sound ambiguous and vague, but remember what I said in the beginning. The third thing about goals is that they have to be individualized for each person's individual situation. How much time I have to devote to my business, and then within that piece of, if our business was a piece of pie, and I cut slices out for eBay, Poshmark, YouTube, and how much time I had for each one, that's going to look a lot different than somebody else's piece of pie. Because we all have different obligations and things going on in our lives. But if you have the dedication, you can do this. I do know moms that are full-time moms that do this around children and make a full-time income. And I know people who work full-time outside of the house and do this just for their vacations, and that's fine too. It's whatever, your situation is. But figure out the math problem first, I would say. And if you figure out, well, I should probably be listing 10 a day to grow to my point and then kind of stay there. But I have a lot going on in my life that's really not feasible. Maybe you only do 5 a day and you just grow a little bit slower. But maybe you want to dedicate, full-time hours to this, and you can say, well, I'll double down at 20 and build it faster. So I always tell people to figure out the math problem first, because you really need to base how much you're listing and how much you're working on, how much money you need to make. But then you need to be realistic about that based on your own personal situation and life. And again, remember, if it seems like you're finishing too early or things are too easy, make your goals a little bit harder, a little bit higher. And if you're consistently not obtaining them and you feel discouraged, lower them a little bit, and you can always raise them back up. It could be that you're still learning, and that's why your goals are too lofty. If you're still, new to measuring jeans, you're not going to be fast at it. But if you lower your goal a little bit so that you're not feeling discouraged all the time, a month from now, you may have increased your speed. You notice that, and you can raise it back up. All right, guys, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to hit the little bell so you're notified when I put out new content. Join our Facebook group. There's a link down below. Until next time, guys, go sit down, figure out what your goals are, set them, stick to them, be productive, make some money. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Y'all are the best. Bye.